What's happening, y'all, and welcome into the 4th episode of House of Sparky's football show. I'm Blaine McCormick, he's Troy Lynch, and Troy, I just put in a fresh set of contacts, and I heard you have a fresh set of highlights.
Oh, I certainly do. Let's get right down to it, shall we? Here's the Pac-12 opener, and the Oregon Ducks travel down to Tempe to take on the Arizona State Sun Devils, who are trying to break a 2-game losing streak. First quarter, first drive of the game, Manny Wilkins will take it himself. Check, please. That's an 8-yard touchdown run. Sun Devils go up early, 7-0. Then Justin Herbert with this Oregon offense, they're pretty good. A 7-yard touchdown pass to Dylan Mitchell. Doesn't get any prettier than that. And that ties things up at 7. A play so nice that even Puddles had to record it. Then shortly after, Wilkins rolling out, finding N'Keal Harry for a 3-yard touchdown pass. Grab your Staples button because that was easy. His 3rd touchdown of this season. 14-7 Sun Devils. However, they fumble a punt return and Royce Freeman takes it 12 yards out. That's his 10th touchdown of the season. He leads the nation at 17-14 ASU at the half. However, now in the second half, Wilkins finds Harry once again. Get off me, he says, muscling off 2 defenders. He's like a trampoline because defenders just keep bouncing off. That's a 47-yard gain, and that sets up this next play. Hand it off to Demario Richard, and then he's going to punch it in 7 yards for the touchdown, puts the Sun Devils up 31-14. Oregon trying to gain some momentum back. Herbert, 22-yard dime to Tony Brooks. James makes the score a 3-point game. However, Brandon Ruiz, 2:33 left in the game, 41 yards. It's good. And that's going to win the game for the Sun Devils. They snap their 2-game losing streak, and then they win 37-35, improving to 1-0 in Pac-12 play. Well, those were some great highlights, but we have even better analysts on the show, Max Madden being one of them. Max, thanks so much for joining us. But this Arizona State defense, nobody really thought they would be able to hold up against the #1 scoring team in the nation. However, they did. They pulled off the win, and it seemed like they came up in big moments, especially on 3rd down.
Well, you're right, Troy. Coming into the game, Arizona State was 130th in getting off the field on 3rd down. That's dead last in the country. But against the Ducks, like you said, one of the best offenses in the country, they held them to 1 for 11 on 3rd down. That is a tremendous stat line. They were allowing 54.5% conversion. And I'll tell you this, Troy, I can't do it off the top of my head, but 1 out of 11 is not 54%.
Yeah, well, the defense definitely held up. In the offense, they held up on their side too. But the biggest factor, Jalen Harvey and N'Keal Harry. But N'Keal Harry had such a good performance. He was placed on the Biletnikoff watch list, which is one of the top 10 wide receivers in the nation, 170 yards. How big of a factor was he in this game?
Well, now we're seeing Billy Napier shift the offensive scheme to revolve around N'Keal Harry in the passing game. So we saw 13 receptions against Texas Tech. That's a poor secondary, but that's a lot of receptions, and then 7 for 170 yards against Oregon. And they have a young, scrappy, pretty solid secondary, so that's very encouraging, and he absolutely took over the game.
And another thing that's really encouraging about this Arizona State team is their kicker, Brandon Ruiz, just a freshman, but he had 3 field goals in that last game, and he ended up kicking the game winner. Let's put this into perspective. If you're a freshman kicker, in that kind of situation, how nervous are you?
Well, I'd be pretty nervous because I'm not a very good kicker, Troy, but Brandon Ruiz certainly wasn't. I mean, after the game, Todd Graham came out, and he said that he was very confident in Brandon Ruiz, so much so that he was already planning for the defensive scheme after he had made it. You said it yourself, he was 3 for 3. That was a big kick, and he's rebounding from a tough start.
Yeah, and he got that spot on the Pac-12 Special Teams Player of the Week, but I think you're our Player of the Week on this show, Max. I know it's early, but I think you earned the spot. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. ASU beats Oregon 37-35, and you can catch more of his coverage on houseofsparky.com.
It only took 4 games for true freshman place kicker Brandon Ruiz to receive his first honors. He was named Pac-12 Special Teams Player of the Week on Tuesday. He was also 3 for 3 in field goal attempts, including the game-winning 41-yarder against the Ducks. Along with that, Oregon only returned 1 of 7 kickoffs. The rest were touchbacks. Now, the powerful leg that Ruiz was recruited for has been on display all year and can prove to be a vital weapon for the Sun Devils in replacing legendary college kicker Zane Gonzalez. Now, speaking of weapons, linebacker Christian Sam has been a tackling machine this year as he is second highest on the team with 37. Sam is also coming off an injury that sidelined him last year because of a leg injury. Our own Troy Lynch talked with Sam about his performance on the field.
Hey, welcome into houseofsparky.com, and this is the Player Spotlight. I'm Troy Lynch, and today in the Spotlight is Arizona State linebacker Christian Sam. Christian, you had 11 tackles against Oregon last week in that win. How big was this win for you and the team?
Well, it was huge for us. You know, beginning of Pac-12 play, it was a good start for us going forward, and giving us good momentum going into Stanford. So.
Yeah, it was interesting because you guys were coming off 2 losses, but you seem way more confident going into Pac-12 play. Where was that confidence coming from?
Because we knew all our mistakes were, self-inflicted. It wasn't anything the team was doing to beat us. We knew it wasn't because they were better than us. It's because we were hurting ourselves. And going forward, we knew we had to correct. Going forward, to beat Oregon and get off on the right foot. And even then, we didn't even play our best game in the end. So we could still get better. And that's a scary part, and the good part for us, but scary, going down the road. So
right, and you have to do that against Stanford this week. But last week, still, you had to go against Oregon without Karan Crump. How tough was that?
It's hard when you lose a guy of caliber of Karan Crump, but at the end of the day, it's next man up. And, we got some people right behind him, that can go. Maybe not like him, but we got guys who can step in and play hard, and play to their full potential, and that's going to help us as a team, as a whole team, get better.
Right, and obviously with Pac-12 play continuing on, your schedule doesn't get any easier. But how much confidence does it give you guys knowing that you can beat a top 25 team in the nation?
Great confidence, but we know we can't. We're a top 25 type team, anyways. We just can't hurt ourselves, and that's the biggest issue. So.
And you have to go up against obviously Stanford, but then Bryce Love this weekend. You've been going up against Rashad Penny, Royce Freeman, now another really touted running back. What's that like for you guys as a defense going up against all these elite running backs?
I think it's a good challenge for us, to show the country, our defense is up to the challenge to handle a back like that. He's a really good back, he's a great back. We just make sure we gang tackle him, get to the ball, and, don't give him any room to breathe, just swarm him. So. Right.
Last year, obviously, you had to sit out because of an injury, but this year you're on fire. You're third in the Pac-12 in tackles with 37. What's this year been like for you, kind of learning and just developing as a player?
It was a slow start, having to learn a new defense,
Yeah.
Whenever you have to pick something new up, it's kind of a slow start, for everybody on the defense, but we're all we're still getting the hang of it, and that's the good part about it,
Right.
We're not even, all the way there yet with it, but we're playing hard, we're going with it, and we're taking the coaching. And they put us in great position to make plays to help the defense out. So
obviously still learning every single week, but Christian, thank you so much for joining me today. And you can catch Christian Sam on the field against Stanford up in Palo Alto this weekend.
And we're back in our studios. We had a segment last week that we kicked off, and we got some good feedback from it. It's called Pros and Cons, where Troy and I talk about the ups and downs of Arizona State football. So, Troy, I noticed that you have the grout fit on today.
I know.
Or last week. Do you have the cons for today?
Yeah, I do have the cons for today, and there are a couple of them, so let's get into the first one. You ever heard of Bryce Love?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, you probably should. He's the Stanford running back, and he's the best running back in the nation right now. 787 yards on the ground. That leads the country. But then he also had 263 yards last week against UCLA. That's just one game, folks, but that earned him Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week. He's going to be a force to reckon with against the Sun Devils.
Well, the Sun Devils also have a force to reckon with in Nikhil Harry, wide receiver from Chandler High School right here in Arizona. The kid's a beast. Unreal Nikhil is what we should call him. I know you came up with that, so
I did.
Give credit for it.
Thank you.
But he's the first receiver in ASU history to have 170-plus receiving yards in under 7 or few carries. And it's just amazing to see what his growth has been from last year to this year. Plus, you still got Manny Wilkins. Hasn't thrown an interception so far this season and has just been slinging the pigskin lately.
Yeah, it's been pretty impressive. However, injuries still kind of playing a factor for this Sun Devil team. They're not going to have Karan Crump for this second straight game. Granted, they did beat number 24 Oregon last week without him. However, it's going to be even taller of a task. Royce Freeman is good. However, so is Bryce Love. You want your lead sacker in there. Only 2 sacks against the Ducks last weekend, but who knows? They might be able to do it.
Well, you mentioned pressure earlier. You know who has been performing under pressure has been Brandon Ruiz.
That's true.
This guy, also a local kid. I love the local kids here in Arizona.
Yeah, you do.
He's from Gilbert, Arizona, and he hit the game-winning 41-yard field goal last week against the Ducks. I'm sure he can do it again. He's been recruited for his big, powerful leg that he has, and Todd Graham has had nothing but compliments about him. So he can be a factor to watch out for in this game against the Cardinals.
Also the Pac-12 Special Teams Player of the Week. However, my last con is going to be Stanford coming off of a very impressive win over UCLA with a final score of 58-34. it's a good UCLA team. In Stanford, they were able to snap their 2-game losing streak, and they were able to beat the Bruins pretty handily, and they're probably going to take that momentum, and they're still at home this weekend.
I want to carry off the momentum, and the fans of Arizona State heard me last week, Troy.
They sure did.
They came out to Sun Devil Stadium, and they were obnoxious. I loved it. There was so much noise in that stadium. I think it's probably the loudest I've ever heard it in my time here at Arizona State. So it was cool just to see them come out and cheer on their Sun Devils. They heard me last week. You got to go again next week for it. A lot of positivity from there, but that'll do it for pros and cons.
Yeah, but now with all the talk of Arizona State, let's bring in Julian Patas to tell us the stories from around the Pac-12. Julian?
Thanks, guys. With everything that's happened in the Pac-12 conference over the past week, it's safe to say it's been nothing short of historical. Let's get right to it. Let's start off with USC sophomore cornerback Jack Jones, who was named Defensive Player of the Week, picking up 2 of the Trojans' 4 interceptions against the California Golden Bears. Jones's performance gave USC the advantage to get the W on Saturday with a final score of 34-58. Heading over to Cardinals territory, Stanford junior running back Bryce Love was named Offensive Player of the Week thanks to his 263 rushing yards against UCLA. Love has gone 6 straight games running for 50-plus yards, something that no other college player has done in the past 20 years. His performance helped the Cardinals take down the Bruins, with the final score being 30-20. And I don't know if you guys were able to catch that Colorado-Washington game on Saturday, but boy, was that a sensational effort by the number 7 ranked Washington Huskies. From Myles Gaskin's 202 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns to the defensive coverage of Jordan Miller's 2 interceptions and Miles Bryant's pick 6, the collective effort of the Huskies resulted in a 37-10 victory over the Colorado Buffs. That's all the time we have for this segment of Around the Pac-12. Thank you for having me on the show. Until next time, I'll send it to you guys back at the desk. Guys?
Thanks so much, Julian. Great job. Now it's time for one of our favorite segments of the show, Pick Your Poster. Here's how it goes down. At the last home game, Blaine and I saw one of our favorite posters, decided to take a picture of it, tweeted about it, and you guys at home picked what your favorite was, and we're going to display it right up here on the monitor. Blaine, you have the first poster.
All right, so our first poster comes out of a fan section. You've heard of the song Every Day I'm Shuffling, right?
Of course.
So this one, kind of a spin-off on it. It's Every Day I'm Deviling.
Ooh, alliteration.
Alliteration.
That's good.
It's good stuff. It looks very cool, the yellow background and the maroon outlining of it. It's also on a flag. That's pretty cool.
I know. I was just about to say, they went the extra mile, took it from a poster to a flag. So bonus points for them. That's pretty impressive.
Now, folks, these fans were also featured on the Jumbotron at Sun Devil Stadium. They're a big group that just are huge Sun Devil fans, and they were fun to be around. Very loud, very cheery, big Sun Devil supporters.
All right, Blaine, that's a good nominee. I also have a good nominee of myself. Do you cook?
I do cook.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, that's good. Well, so do other Arizona State students. And if you go to the Tooker dorm, they're cooking duck. See how they did that? You know, it's the Oregon Ducks and they're cooking duck. So it's funny in that kind of way. It's a little interesting because that doesn't look like a duck. It looks like a turkey.
Yeah, but I do like the sequin bordering on it. It looks fancy. I like it.
I know, yeah. So I just thought it was clever. I don't think they wanted to spell out the letter or the word 2, so they just kept it as a number.
That works.
So minus points for that, but I just thought this was pretty clever and some good Greek life work out of this poster.
I don't know about you, but I've never had duck in college. I've had it like in summer when my parents were paying for it. Yeah. But I know it's kind of an expensive dish, so I don't know how much money that fan has, but good for him for making the poster. It looks good.
It worked because the Devils beat the Ducks 37-35, but Blaine, who was our winner?
Our winner was Every Day I'm Deviling. So congratulations to all of those fans for their custom-made poster. Great work from them. And you too can vote for your favorite poster every week on the House of Sparky Twitter page. Just make sure you look for the poll. But that's Pick Your Poster for this week.
Going into Arizona State's last game against the University of Oregon, head coach Todd Graham made the call to have redshirt freshman Chase Lucas start at corner. For the first 3 games of the season, it was former track star and redshirt junior Joey Bryant. However, with a 1-2 record to start the season, it was Lucas's time. And no better time to have your first Division I start against the number 24 team in the nation. Lucas finished the game with 8 total tackles, which was tied for the second highest in the game, and more importantly, did not give up any touchdowns. It was a tall task for a player whose picture doesn't even show up on the Arizona State roster. but the Chandler High School alum helped the Sun Devils to a 37-35 win. And you ask why sports are so important? Well, after the game, Lucas shared an emotional moment with Todd Graham's wife, Penny, where she told him, "This was your first start. You're just getting started." And that's why Chase Lucas is our feel-good story of the week.
Thanks so much, Troy, for the feel-good story of the week. Always a positive segment in our show. And another positive analyst that we have on the show is Josiah Destin. Always got a smile on his face. But Josiah, let's talk about the Stanford Cardinal. And I heard you got some film for us. Let's talk about Bryce Love a little bit. He's the leading college football rusher, but he gets some help from his offensive line. On this specific play, what do you see from the O-line that benefits him so much?
Blaine, what I see is fearlessness from the Stanford offense. I mean, look at this. UCLA's got 6 guys up there on the line, and if not 3 more who might even be going up against Love. And I mean, what's not to love about Love? But a guy who's going to help him is David Bright. David Bright right here, number 64 on your screen. He's right there kind of towards at the bottom of the line. What he's going to do is going to move all the way over and create this hole for Love. He's a 5th-year senior. This guy, he's done it before, and watch him do it here. He's got the ball right even before Love has gotten the football in his hands, and he creates this major hole, blocks the guy in front of him, and Love's able to get an easy 5 yards.
So along with that, Love is a very talented running back in himself. What are some ways that he really creates these kind of holes for him, and what are some moves that you really like about this running back?
I just love seeing the guy in the open field. I mean, when he's going up against a defense who thinks that they're going to pass the ball, you know, when it looks like a Stanford pass, that's just when Love is going to run. And you see here, they've got 4 wide receivers out on the field. So UCLA, they're thinking pass, 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 but Love, he's next to his quarterback in shotgun formation. He's going to run. What he does here is he jukes out his first guy after getting that major hole, that safety right there who's diving. And then he's only got 2 more guys to beat. Number 14, he's a little flat-footed from that first move. And then the guy behind him, he's getting blocked up by a wide receiver. And now he puts on the afterburners, 27 yards for Love.
Now, we talked a lot about the speed of the Cardinal, but Arizona State is a speedy team as well. What are some ways that the offense of the Sun Devils can counteract the defense of the Cardinal?
Well, Blaine, just like you were hoping I would, I did some research, and I actually found out some interesting stuff. I mean, Arizona State with Manny Wilkins at quarterback is 12th in the nation in passing yards in that passing offense. Stanford, they're 106th in passing defense. So let's take a look at the film and just some ways that Stanford, lacks that passing defense. So you see here, Stanford's got 2 safeties. One of them is moved all the way up towards the line. He's going to run at Rosen. The other, Ben Edwards, instead of filling up that room in front, he goes behind him, which creates this ginormous hole for the UCLA tight end. Easy first down for UCLA. So let's look at another play here. UCLA in the red zone, and Quentin Meeks, that corner below, he's got man-to-man coverage with the UCLA receiver. Edwards behind him, he's kind of there as a safety for him just in case he beats him. Well, Meeks, he lets himself get beat. Look at him at the bottom of the screen. If his back is towards the receiver, that means it's a touchdown, and that's exactly what UCLA does, leaving question marks for the Cardinal.
Josie, you're a funny guy with those question marks. I like the graphic in there. So the ultimate question mark is going to be, are the Sun Devils going to win in Palo Alto this Saturday? I guess we're just going to have to wait until then to find out. But thanks so much for being here, Josie, and breaking down all that film. Now we're going to move into our Pac-12 top plays of the week. First play comes out of Palo Alto, California, as Bryce Love runs up the middle and breaks a Bruin's ankles on the ground. Runs in for the 69-yard rushing touchdown. A nice performance from him in this one. Just a bear trap, if you will. Coming down, finds a hole, and then just runs upfield. Look at this move one more time. Oh my goodness, such a good performance from Bryce Love in this one.
And our number 2 play coming from Tempe, Justin Herbert and the Oregon Ducks, or should I say the Oregon Deer. There's the truck. Named Desmond Tautulatassi with the hit on Casey Eugenio, just ducks him up one more time. Ow. Oh, that hurts me just looking at it, Blaine. I can't watch, but we're going to one more time. ASU wins 37-35.
Yeah, my core just hurts looking at that one. Let's head into Boulder, Colorado. Jake Browning throws this ball 5,280 feet to Quinton Pounds, who comes down with it. Oh my goodness.
How did he catch that?
Making the mile-high catch. Leaping over 2 defenders, getting some love from his teammates. Let's take another look at this beautiful catch. Comes up, bobbles a little bit, but comes down with it. And Washington continues their tear on the season, 37-10 over the Buffs. That's our Pac-12 top play of the week. Well, we saw a little bit of everything in those Pac-12 highlights, a big catch, a big run, and a big hit. It's always so much fun to watch.
You get a little bit of everything, but you also get a little bit of everything on this show. Once again, we want to thank you for tuning in. He's Blaine McCormick. I'm Troy Lynch. If you want more Arizona State football coverage, make sure you go to housesparky.com. ASU, Stanford, that's happening today. But for now, we'll see you next Saturday. Take care.